Good afternoon.
Okay.
How are
Same.
you? To do this thing? Have a clue what you got yourself into?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pass the sheet around. If you make sure your name is on it. It's not on it, add it. It is on it. Sign it. I'm Mike Morris. Professor in the McKenna Center for Human Development and Global Business. For those of you not familiar with the Keough School, you're in the Keough School right now. The Keough School is the first new college at Notre Dame in 100 years. And it's a different kind of place because as opposed to academic departments like in engineering, mechanical engineering, or electrical engineering, or in business, marketing, or finance, it's a college of schools and of centers and institutes. And so there's institutes that deal with poverty, and institutes that deal with peace, and institutes that deal with religion. The McKenna Institute or Center is a unit that focuses on the role of business, and specifically the role in business doing good. Business's role in big social questions, big social challenges like sustainability, or poverty, human trafficking, or equity in supply chains. This course is put on by the McKenna Center. It is also part of the, for those of you that have an interest in the minor in social entrepreneurship, it is part of the minor. It's cross-listed, so it's in all kinds of other areas. But our purpose here, what's your name? Emily. What's our purpose here, Emily?
Help nonprofit organizations, or is it startups to be able to grow and learn different consulting. I know it's one consulting method. Learn about that and be able to apply what we learn here to help them.
Good. What's your name?
Andrea.
Andrea? Andrea?
Yeah.
Why are we here?
When we want to help others find solutions to this problem.
Okay. What's the most practical reason we're here? What's your name?
Edie.
Edie. What's the most practical reason we're here?
Well, to obviously learn about consulting, but to assist, I don't know, local groups that need help or are looking for guidance.
Well, we're doing all that, but
Okay.
what's the first part of what you said?
To learn about consulting.
Teach students how to consult.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. So if you're not here to learn how to do consulting, you might be in the wrong place. So what is consulting? Deep question. Yeah.
Sharing knowledge, experience, and expertise.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it? Most students on this campus have very little experience. So how can they share experience?
We learned
On this campus, you learn what?
by doing.
Not much. Most of our classes are on the campus. Most of them are theoretical, philosophical. There's not a lot of people on this campus cleaning up the St. Joseph River, last time I looked. So there's the problem. We have smart students, we have students that are learning lots of things, but consulting is doing what?
Problem solving.
Okay.
Problem solving.
Let's put a word in front of that.
Creative.
Creative problem solving. Creative problem. So some of you are sitting there going, shit, I don't know if I can do this. I'm consulting. I've never consulted before. Do I have what it takes to consult? The short answer is, don't think of it as consulting. Think of it as creative problem solving. All of you have experience in creative problem solving. So that's what we're about. So our purpose is to help you become a great consultant. I can tell you this. The students that complete this course and are able to put this on their resume, it's a game changer. Student after student after student tells me, I was interviewing to get into medical school. I was interviewing to get a job in government. I was interviewing or whatever, for a consulting job. And they saw this on my resume and they asked me about it. What do you think they asked? What do you think they asked? What's your name? What do you think they asked? Yeah, what is this consulting thing you did? And we go, well, I worked with two real people in disadvantaged circumstances. And I produced tangible solutions they could use to advance what they were trying to do. So then they ask, what kind of real solutions? Because that's what they ask in interviews, they want tangibles. And when you graduate from Notre Dame, what's your biggest problem?
I wouldn't find a job.
You're looking for a job. Finding a job isn't the issue. You're looking for a job you want. A job that will motivate you, a job that will help you grow and develop and get where you're going. And what's your problem? What's your liability? What happens if it's a job you want? I mean, you think I went to Notre Dame, so I'm special. You are. But what's your problem when you interview for jobs? If it's a job you really want, who are you competing against? Students that went to Stanford, students that went to Berkeley, students that went to Yale, students that went to good universities, because it's a job worth having. And so then you're competing against bright, smart, capable people that have exactly what you have, a degree from a good school. So you got nothing, because it's a level playing field. It's a level playing field. And so when you can say, I've solved real problems, and what are they especially interested in terms of your problem solving ability? Can you do it in the contemporary world? And what's the contemporary world like? Things are changing really slowly, kind of methodically, very predictably in the world. It's kind of scary out there. Very uncertain, very chaotic, very turbulent. Rules of the game are changing all the time. So they don't want to know if you can solve problems in a safe, stable, predictable, controllable context. They want to know how you are in conditions of uncertainty and ambiguity and constant change. And that brings us to the context that we're in, poverty. We're working with people who all share one thing. We're working with people that have a dream. a dream of a venture of their own. Because what's the alternative to having a venture of your own if you're the folks we serve?
Like a 9 to 5 salaried position.
Hardly ever a salaried position. You come from poverty and disadvantage, getting a salaried job is highly unusual. What's usual?
Menial labor jobs.
A labor intensive job that is hourly, that has little room for growth or advancement. That probably has no job security, so when things are tough, you're the first one out the door. That may or may not offer basic benefits like healthcare or retirement. Which makes entrepreneurship look kind of attractive. Having my own thing, being my own person, creating my own mark, having my own ability to give back to my neighborhood, to my community. So you're going to get introduced to the poverty context. You're going to get introduced to the consulting context. I'm going to give you a lot of tools. I'm going to show you how to do consulting the right way. But we're going to do it in a poverty context. And then the third leg of the wheel is the people we're helping are entrepreneurs. What's that all about? What's entrepreneurship?
People that have an idea and want to like start a new project kind of thing, and you
Not a new project, a new,
job.
not a new job. What are they starting? These aren't hard questions, so just jump in here. Yeah.
A new business venture.
You're starting some kind of business venture. Could be a for-profit venture, it could be a nonprofit venture, but they're starting an enterprise. And if they're starting an enterprise, what does that mean?
They need money.
They what?
They need money.
They got no money. And ain't nobody gonna give them any money. The Notre Dame Credit Union doesn't give loans to the people we serve. They like to talk a nice talk, but they don't walk the walk. So they don't have money and nobody's gonna give them any money. And yet they have a dream. A dream of a business of their own. What's entrepreneurship all about? How's that work? Nobody's familiar with entrepreneurship? Yes, sir.
The ability to find a need that isn't being served and then trying to serve it.
Okay, that's a good answer. Finding a need, coming up with a unique way to serve that need. And at the end of the day, what has to happen, whether you're a nonprofit or for-profit?
You have to make a profit, whether then you then reinvest it into the.
More money has to come in than goes out each month.
Yeah.
Right? Is that true in a nonprofit? Your church is a nonprofit, if you have a church, right? What's true about your church? They have to have more money came in this month than went out this month, or the church is out of business. What's true about pick any nonprofit you want? More money has to come in than go out. The only difference with a nonprofit is where the money comes from. But the bottom line is, gotta be financially viable. So we're gonna take a dive into all three of these. And that's the essence of the course. What's different about the course, so that's the subject matter. You'll come to know entrepreneurship a lot from just your interactions with the folks we're gonna serve. And some of the things I share. You come to know poverty somewhat from interacting with the people we serve. But that's a topic we're gonna have to spend some time on. And you come to know consulting and an approach to consulting that is effective, that works. So what's your name?
Perfect.
Erica, what's your biggest trepidation?
Speaking to someone and having to give them advice on their own venture, which I know have, no.
It's a nice, yeah, honest answer. What's your name?
Ben. Ben,
Ben, what's your biggest trepidation?
what's a trepidation?
Oh,
Fear.
Like about this course?
that's what we're talking about.
Probably giving bad
It's
advice.
tough.
And then like.
It's first day of class, your mind's still wherever the hell you were last week.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, probably just giving bad advice, and like messed up someone's current life.
yeah, I tell somebody something wrong and it hurts them, they go backwards, and it's somebody in disadvantage to begin with. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. What's your name?
Matt.
Matt, what's your biggest trip?
I would say it's kind of along the same lines as that, but like this is pretty high stakes. But in my opinion, like if you give someone bad advice, like, you're right, like, it really may set someone back. So like I want to do a good job as much as I can. So I guess yeah, that's both a fear and like a motivation, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. It's listening to you is very interesting. All three of you is very interesting. Don't think of your job in this class as giving advice. Isn't that what consulting is, giving advice? That sounds like a trick question. You just said it wasn't, but is it? Is consulting giving advice? What did I call it? What did I call it? Consulting, creative problem solving. Creative problem solving. Advice may be involved, but it's effective. It isn't about what you do for the client. It's about what you do with the client. It's about how you arrive at solutions with the entrepreneur. You're not here to tell anybody what to do. You can give them insights that provide direction, but you're solving problems with the clients. And those of you that, I mean, all of you are listening, but those of you who get that will do amazing. You're solving problems with the clients. You're holding their hand. You're walking a journey with them. And where do you start that journey?
From identifying.
They'll tell you what they think the problem is, and
This.
could they be wrong? If you're an entrepreneur, Carolyn, and you hate the numbers, you're intimidated by numbers. You're like, the minute numbers come into the conversation, you just aren't there anymore. You're nodding your head, but you're not really processing anything. If that's how you are, and there are a lot of people that way, are you gonna tell us that you'd really like help with bookkeeping? That's the last thing you're gonna say. You're gonna say, help me with social media. So the clients may or may not really understand what the priorities are, what the problem, you gotta help them get there. You can't tell them. But key to all of this, the key to process consulting, which is the approach we use, is how you work with the clients to get to solutions. And my question was, well, where do you start?
Seeing where they start. Seeing the beginning.
So we run a poverty program here in South Bend. You're gonna learn about that program. It's called the South Bend Entrepreneurship and Adversity Program. We work with 70 disadvantaged people a year for 10.5 months. Our program works. So we've spread that program to 57 other cities around the world, all using what we're doing here. When I arrived at Notre Dame and I went out into the community to talk to leaders in the African American community and the Hispanic community and the formerly incarcerated community, in the refugee community and the people who run the local women's shelter. What do you think they said to me? When I said, we want to help people escape disadvantage through entrepreneurship. What do you think they said to me? And I've written 18 books. I've been around a long time. What do you think they said to me?
Maybe that it wouldn't work because I don't think they're capable. I don't know. Just
These were leaders in these communities that would help us get to the people we're trying to serve. What do you think they said? They said, who the hell are you? That's what they said. And I said, well, I'm from Notre Dame. What do they say about Notre Dame? They all know Notre Dame. They live in South Bend. You can't live in South Bend and not know Notre Dame. What did they say?
Notre Dame has to do with it?
Notre Dame has never done anything for me. Nothing. That's what they said. They've lived here their whole lives. And what's the number one thing to do in South Bend? What's the number one thing to do in South Bend? Come on, there's not a lot to do in South Bend. What's the number one thing?
Steady.
Go to Notre Dame football game. Lived their whole lives here, 42 years old, never been to a football game. Maybe worked one of the concession stands at the football game. Never saw the game. So their acquaintance with Notre Dame is, well, my cousin works in the dining hall on the campus. So what am I trying to describe to you? What am I trying to describe to you?
Like there's a gap between Notre Dame and then like the wider community. There's a gap.
That Notre Dame talks a lot about doing things for the better good. Right? They question whether we walk the walk. We talk the talk, but do we walk the walk? So what I'm trying to describe to you is a credibility problem. And we worked hard. And this program's been successful. But then you walk in, you provide some consulting assistance, and you start from a position of, who the hell are you? Right? And so you start from a lack of credibility. Meaning, you're gonna have to build a relationship. You're not just gonna go in and start solving problems. You have to establish a rapport. You have to build a relationship. You have to, relationships are about what?
Trust. Trust.
Connection? What'd you say?
Trust.
Trust. Relationships are about trust. You have a relationship with me? I'm the instructor, you're in a course, you're a student, so, and we just met, so fairly superficial relationship. Do you have a relationship with your best friend? Is it different than your relationship with me? How? And if you know more about each other, you told each other things about yourself, which took, because when you tell things about yourself, what does that do? Makes you vulnerable. Excellent, makes you vulnerable. And things you would never tell me, right? So think about the difference in those relationships and then think about a client relationship. and how you try to establish trust. And saying, hey, I'm a Notre Dame student, doesn't do the trick. It's about you. And learning how to, it's not gonna happen like that, it takes time. Trust takes time. So you're gonna have entrepreneurs that are looking at you and smiling and being friendly, but they may not be telling you the whole story. They may be holding back. They may mislead you until you start to sort of peel the onion, develop the relationship. In fact, in this world, in your life, what ideas do you tend to like the most?
The ones that sound easy and sound doable.
Okay. What ideas do you tend to like most?
Creative and unique ideas.
Unique, okay, novel ideas, yeah. Most of us, our favorite ideas are our own, right? I don't care about your ideas, but I love my ideas, right? So what is one of your biggest challenges as a consultant?
To confront the idea.
To convince the customer, the client, that the idea you busted your butt to come up with was their idea, not your idea. Because if they thought it was their idea and you just helped facilitate it, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? They're gonna own it a little bit, they're more likely to implement it. To actually implement that social media campaign, to actually implement that bookkeeping system. So that's the journey you're on. It's a human journey. It's a personal journey. This is a different course. There, as I told you in the note I sent ahead of time, there's no midterm exam. There's no final exam. There's no term papers. There's no case presentations. What does that mean if none of that stuff exists? So everything you're graded on, including class participation, everything is tied to what? Serving the client. The deliverables, the solutions you produce for the clients. Everything. That kind of sounds cool, doesn't it? No midterm, no final. Well, read into that. What does it mean? Because it ain't like your other courses. And courses are quite diverse, but it ain't like your other courses. What does it mean when there's a date in October where you have your midterm exam and you have a study pattern? Whether you cram it all in the last 3 days or whether you have some other methodology, you get gear up, you take the exam, you get the grade you get, do the term paper, none of that it happens here. You'll see what you're evaluated on, but it's all tied to consulting, doing the consulting, serving the client. Do you understand what I'm saying? What does it imply?
Consistency is key.
Consistency in what?
On doing our job properly. We cannot just like study for one night and get everything, or use AI, or do everything, or like just
So you
imagine
gotta-
artificial.
Gotta be organized.
Yeah,
You gotta manage your time. You can't do it all the last 2 weeks of the semester.
yeah.
Won't work.
Or copy paste, or like do something. We just actually have to work.
Yeah. So, can I ask you a personal question? You sure? If you don't like it, just tell me, shut up.
Okay,
Holy
I'm 20.
20. It's 20. What does that mean?
She's lived 20 years. She has
She's
experience.
lived 20 years, meaning what?
She has,
What's that mean, 20 years?
she has 20 years of experience of perceptions of the world, ideas of her own.
And her life is 1/4 over.
Yeah.
First quarter of the game's done, moving on to the second quarter. Right? Okay, when you look at your life that way, not, I'm 20, I don't know anything, but I'm 20 and 1/4 of my life's over. What does that tell you? It tells you you may not have a lot of work experience, but you have a lot of experience. Don't sell yourself short. Many of you have experienced death. Many of you have experienced tragedy. Many of you have experienced wondrous things. Many of you have worked in some crap job in the summertime with some terrible boss. But you have experience. So I want to make sure you have that sense. You have experience. Some have had considerable experience, life experience, human experience. You've been in different situations. But if you're 20 years old, I'm wagering here, I'm guessing. When did she probably start school? She went to daycare, she went to preschool, she went to kindergarten, she went to first grade, she went to high school. For 17 or 18 of those years, she has been a student. Which means what? Which means what?
She hasn't worked full time.
Well, I don't want to talk about what she hasn't done, let's look at what she has done.
She's learned a lot.
Probably has learned a lot. But if she's been doing it for 17, 18 years, she's a pro.
Good at it.
She's a professional student. She knows how to be a student. All of you know how to be a student. Meaning, everybody get this? Meaning, I'll bet she can walk into a classroom this semester, and in 10 minutes, she's figured out how much work she has to do this semester, whether this will be a sort of back burner course or a butt buster course. You just know because you've done it for so long. And this isn't a criticism, it just is what it is, right? Here's the hardest part of this course. You have to stop being a student and start being a consultant. You have to take the student hat off, you'll be learning things, and put the consultant hat on. You have to look in the mirror and think, there's a consultant looking back at you. That's the key. Why am I making a big deal out of this? I mean, we do this in a lot of contexts. I took 28 students to South Africa this summer. We go into the shanty towns, the black townships, and they consult to people in terrible poverty. Right? They quickly have to stop being students, start being consultants. Because it's a full out, intense, like Marine boot camp kind of program. This is a little less than that. This is, or you got 15 weeks, not crammed into 6. But why am I making a big deal about see yourself as a consultant, not as a student? I'm trying to get you to understand what's different about what we're doing. And it's exciting and can be incredibly fulfilling if you get it. Because as a student, what happens? No, you're told everything. Some supposedly intelligent person stands in front of the room and tells you what you need to know. As you read stuff on what you need to know. And then what do? They give you a test so you can spit it all back at them. And then they use their subjective judgment to determine a grade. But you're told everything to do. You're told you'll have a test on this date. You'll have a paper due on this date. You'll have a presentation on this date. This is what you must know. This is what you must be able to convey. I'm going to give you a ton of tools, a bunch of ways to solve problems, but there's no test. Rather, you're making the decisions. You're deciding what's important. You're deciding what you're going to apply to this client's problem or that problem. So when I'm giving you content and tools and approaches, a whole toolkit, I'm not sitting there going, all right, let's monitor how well you're making those decisions. You're deciding what things to apply and how to apply them. We're here to help all the way. You get lots of support, but you're in the driver's seat. You're making the decisions. You're deciding, because there's a deadline at the end of the term, but between now and then, you're making the decisions how to allocate your time. You're making the decisions what to focus on. Do you understand that? That's different. That's what it means to be a consultant. Okay, I gotta process all this stuff. I gotta look at a situation. I gotta prioritize problems, and then I gotta try to solve one or two of those problems. Does everybody get that? So what questions do you have? Yes, sir.
What would we do if we're faced with a problem that we can't necessarily find a solution for, or we're really struggling to, think outside the box about a particular issue that the client is facing. So, if we're really struggling to figure out what we need to be doing.
First of all, there's always a solution. And so it's never going to be, I can't do it. It can be, I've hit a brick wall and I don't know which way to go or what to do. And that's why we're here. So this will not be a course where my office hours are 15 minutes on Thursdays between 3:45 and 4. We're available every day of the week to help. You're going to meet some other people that are here to help support your effort. What you're going to discover is there's a ton of talent in this room. And so maybe she knows a lot more about website design than you know. So you'll be consulting to your clients, but you'll be a resource helping other people. Maybe some of you know more about Canva. Maybe some of you know more about social media. Maybe some of you know more about negotiation or. So there's lots of people to help you. You gotta ask for help. You gotta come pursue the problem, not just try to figure this out. Get help. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'm wondering, like, what is going to be your metrics of success, or like the level of impact that you hope that we do? Is it, or are you going to just base it on our efforts, or does it depend on that's business making profits or even solving one problem or issue? I don't know.
So let me read into that question. Are you asking me, it's kind of like in, with 8-year-old kids that are playing, stickball or little league baseball or soccer, and every kid on the team gets a trophy? No, every kid on the team doesn't get a trophy. You gotta produce, you gotta perform. So effort matters, but we're not grading effort. We're grading outcomes. So what outcomes would we be interested in? Who are we helping?
Solving one issue.
Who are we helping? Disadvantaged entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs who come from more difficult backgrounds or circumstances. Whether that's a result of poverty, or they're refugees new to this country, or they're formerly incarcerated, or their disadvantage is tied to some kind of abuse they've had to survive, or whatever. Disadvantaged entrepreneurs. And it's about their dream. So they're trying to start a business, trying to grow a business. So what's the question?
It's clear now.
Did you move the business forward? That's the metric. That's what we're assessing. Did you move the business forward? Not 5 years from now. So you gotta rein in, because 5 years from now, who knows what the hell's going on? We're looking over the next 12 months. Did you move the business forward? It is the entrepreneur in a better place, in a better position than when you met him. That's the bottom line metric. And that can take lots of different forms. And it's not cookie cutter. It's unique to each of these people. And what their struggles are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. What else? What else can I answer? Yeah.
I mean, I've had some exposure, like professionally and personally, to corporate consultancy and, you know, corporations that are hiring like big consultancy firms, etc. But what would you say then is the biggest difference between someone, let's say, who joins a corporate consultancy and is consulting to an MNC versus the process by which you consult to, you know, someone, apart from obviously the profit margins and the scales that we're talking about?
Yeah, so I want everybody to meet my good friend, Tom Reynolds. And Tom is here to help. He's part of the help you're gonna have. He's gonna be working with you as well. Tom spent a career with just about every one of those big name consulting firms that we sort of list off the top of our fingers, or, you know, our heads. He was a partner in a number of these firms. He was a partner for many years at Egon Zehnder, one of the global leaders in consulting. And so Tom would tell you something different in answering this question. But with these big consulting firms, from my perspective, it's often formulaic. Part of the art of what they do is to figure out what the client's already decided to do and assist them based on that. Where students have consulting opportunities, it's often a predefined problem. Here, you're working with an entrepreneur where the problem could be over here in marketing, it could be over here in bookkeeping, it could be in operations. These are nuts and bolts kinds of businesses. It's a woman who's a single mom with 3 kids, working a part-time job while she tries to start a cleaning business. And what's the problem with the cleaning business?
Like it takes a lot of time initially and.
It's very labor intensive.
Yeah.
What's the other problem with the cleaning business? There's a ton of cleaning businesses, so it's intensely competitive. What's the other problem with the cleaning business?
Materials costs.
I can't afford industrial vacuum cleaners. So I've got to buy a used conventional vacuum cleaner. So I can't afford fancy equipment. I don't understand fancy technology, and if I do, I can't afford it. So it's not just labor intensive. I'm doing all the labor, which severely limits how many homes I can clean in a day or a week or a month. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So walking into that context and saying, well, there are operational issues. How you approach cleaning a home could be more systematic, so you could get it done higher quality, but in less time. And there are bookkeeping issues because the woman doesn't know whether she made a profit this month or didn't. She knows she had money coming in and seems to be a little balance in her bank account at the end of the month that wasn't there at the beginning of the month, but did she make money? She doesn't know. And she thinks the key to marketing is social media, but has no clue on how to segment the market and target particular customers, or how to build an integrated social media campaign rather than post every other week. Often talking about stuff that has nothing to do with her business in her posts. Or it's a problem with cash flow management, because it's a catering business and I gotta buy all the stuff and then cater the job and then I get paid. But you got this business that could have problems in any corner of the business. They need a website. And you have to figure out what those problems are. You have to prioritize them. How are we gonna prioritize? How important are they to the business, and is it a problem I, as a student at Notre Dame, can solve in the time I have?
Yeah.
Right? And then you have to go out and work with the entrepreneur, not just produce it and give it to them, so that they buy into the solution. That's totally different than, you know, working for the Boston Consulting Group and going into Exxon Mobil and assisting them with their supply chain issues. It's just a different world. It's the nuts and bolts, the essence, it's creative problem solving is the same, but in that context, you're dealing with a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different politics, a lot of different everything. This is powerful because you could have an impact if you do it the right way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Other question? Yeah.
Maybe I can ask, just since we will try to like figure out our own ways, like how to deal with them, like with the partners, with the clients, and but maybe you can just give us a quick overlook of which methods and instruments can we possibly implement to make it more efficient in the long run.
To make what more efficient? The consulting?
Yeah, consulting, or maybe like just discussion with clients.
Worry is not so much efficiency, but the effectiveness
Yeah.
of your consultancy. But yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's take a little bit of a dive into it. So the beginning point in all of this is you as a consultant. And so, and you're going to be in teams. You're going to be in teams of 2. Okay. And each team is going to have 2 clients. And you're going to be trying to produce 3 solutions for each of your 2 clients. So basically over a full semester, 14 plus weeks, you're going to be trying to produce 6 problem solved, 6 solutions for your client. Doing all of that is exciting, it's exhilarating, when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel that way, but when it's over, it does. But doing that requires that you start with a self-awareness, with a sense of what you bring to the table. When we do it's always amusing, it wouldn't be amusing to you, but to me. But would you take a little chance here with me, a little experiment? Okay, okay. So when I interview students to go to the South Africa program each summer, which we do in June and July. And they come in for these interviews, and it's a pretty tough interview. We don't want to take students halfway across the world and they like implode. I ask them a question early on in the interview, which seems like a pretty straightforward question. I ask them, what will you bring to the program? It's called Entrepreneurship Empowerment in South Africa, so ISA. What skills will you bring to the ISA program?
I bring attention to detail and organization.
Attention to detail and organization. Good. Anything else?
A background in research.
So, is she doing a good job of answering my question?
She's giving me some skills.
She's trying, but is she doing a good job?
To be honest.
Right answer here, so don't think, what's he want me to say?
Yes.
She did a very good job. Why did she do a good job? And it's unusual. Because most students say, well, I'm a hard worker. Why is that a terrible answer?
It's too vague in general.
No, it's a non-answer. What did I ask for? Skills. Is hardworking a skill? No, it's a trait. I didn't ask about your traits. Or they'll say, I like working with other people. Well, I'm glad you like that, but what's your skill? So when I ask skill, I'm asking her, what? What can you do? Not what are your traits, you're friendly, you're honest, you have integrity, those are all good things, but I didn't ask you about it, I asked about skills. When you go for job interviews, what do they want to know? What can you do? And you go, well, I thought you guys are going to teach me how to do the stuff. Yeah, they want to know what you can do coming in the door. So now some of you going, well, I'm not sure what I can do. But I'm telling you, when I talk to those students and start to pull it out of them, every one of them ends up with about 15 things they can do. I want you to focus on what you can do. What did she tell me? I'm sorry, your name again was?
Stephanie.
Stephanie? Yeah. What did Stephanie tell me she could do?
Attention to details.
Attention to detail isn't really a skill. But right after that, she said, she has good organizational skills. I could have probed that, but what does that mean? If given an assignment, I'm good at organizing it into some steps or into a process. I'm good at organizing the people I'm working with in my club when they put me in charge of recruitment or whatever. I'm good at organizing resources. Okay, that's a skill. What else did she tell me? I'm glad I called on you, because almost always I get, I'm a hard worker and I'm a people person. She told me she has research skills. And I could probe into that a little bit, but it implies what? She knows how to investigate a problem. She knows how to explore secondary sources of data, or maybe even generate some data by doing a survey or some kind of investigation, some kind of case study or whatever. I want you to think about what skills you have. I want each of you to try to make a list of those skills. Give me a skill. That you,
Let's see.
something you do.
Um,
You know how to use Canva?
yes,
Okay, there's a skill. What's that mean?
I can help.
You could be an idiot when it comes to graphic design, but Canva makes you look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? There's a skill. Give me a skill.
Coding.
You know how to code? I want you on my team. Good. Skill?
I've used Excel.
All right, you're good with spreadsheets. If you're good with spreadsheets, what should you be good with? Clients. 4 people in South Bend. What could you do with a spreadsheet for them?
I think you could organize pretty well,
Organize what?
like, any like data that they're collecting or their books.
Or that they should be collecting, like, I have a hair salon, what do I need? Be good to have a customer database, wouldn't it? Be good to track the name of each customer, how frequently they come in, what kind of services they buy when they come to my place, how much they spend, how often they come, when their birthday is, right? I need to have a spreadsheet, build that simple data, rows and columns, build a simple database so they can figure out, hey, this client's birthday is coming up, let me send them a coupon for 20% off and a happy birthday note. Right? You can do that. If I didn't know you can do that, you can do that. That's a skill. Give me some more skills. Give me a skill. Yeah.
Good with PowerPoint.
All right, what are you gonna do with that?
I guess it's more of a communication thing then. You're able to like concretely put your ideas into a format that can make sense to communicate to the client.
Okay, maybe you could help use PowerPoint to help the client put together a short pitch so they can pitch their business to a resource provider. All right, good skill. Others?
Foreign languages.
Foreign languages skill. We have some clients whose first language may be Spanish, so if it's Ukrainian, I'm not sure how much it's gonna help, but yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is take some time between now and Thursday and think of your skills. Because each of you brings special things to the team. And the more you understand the kind of skills you have, whether they're quantitative skills, whether they're research skills, some of you have had jobs. What's that mean? If you worked in a clothing boutique, if you worked in an ice cream store, if you worked in a restaurant, worked in a bar, what's that mean?
You were doing things and so you developed skills.
Okay, you a whole bunch of skills. In those settings I just described, are there pain in the butt customers? So you probably have some skills at dealing with customers who are difficult, right? Customer service skills. What I hope all of you are thinking right now is, yeah, man, I actually have quite a few skills. Doesn't matter whether you're majoring in nuclear physics or sociology or art. You have skills that you bring to the table. And we're going to find ways to use those skills as you solve problems for your clients. So start by knowing yourself. And when you get paired up with somebody, trade your list of skills with them and them with you so that you start to know each other. So you can play to those strengths, you can play to those skills, and you start to know where your holes are, where the gaps are, where maybe you can use a little more help from Tom or from me or from somebody else in the class. Make sense? Amen? So, this is a word that you may come to hate the D word. Bless you. You're producing deliverables. What are students good at?
Learning.
Well, hopefully learning, yeah. But what are students good at? What do we teach you at Notre Dame? Whether you're in theology or biology.
Contribute to the common,
What? Say again?
contributing to the common good.
Oh, we talk about that. I don't know if we teach people how to actually do it, but maybe we do. But no, what students are good at, what we teach in universities, and they do at Ohio State, and they do at Princeton, you learn analysis. You learn how to analyze things. Whether you're analyzing a financial statement because you're an accounting major, or you're analyzing some kind of moth because you're a science student, you learn to analyze literature, analyze big theological questions, but you learn to analyze. Analysis is critical. You will have to do analysis. But a deliverable is not analysis. A deliverable is a problem solved. So let's say you have a client and you decide, hey, let's go interview 40 prospective customers for this business. And so you go interview them and you create a little survey and you get data and you take that data and you tabulate it and you run some simple statistics on it and you write a report. That represents analysis. It is not a deliverable. When would that become a deliverable?
You use the feedback you got from the survey to improve.
To
upon
change
it.
the way they set their prices. To change the way we're gonna communicate with them in our promotion level. Yes, then it becomes a deliverable. So you're gonna have 2 clients and you're gonna solve 3 problems for each of the 2 clients. That's the bar. The typical team solves 5 for each client. Don't worry about that. You don't have to do that. And when you're in the middle of it, it'll think, we'll never get to 3. But you'll hit a point. You'll start to connect more with the entrepreneur. The relationship will start to become more two-way and more substantive. The trust will start to build. Breakthroughs will come in how you see things. And then suddenly teams are producing more than 3 deliverables, but it's as practical as it gets because you gotta solve a problem. That's what a deliverable is with some kind of creative solution. Now, when you think about consulting, consulting takes lots of different forms. On the slide, I've given you 4 examples. If you go to the airport, is there an information desk? Right? And what can you do at the information desk?
You can ask where a gate is.
Or my bag didn't come through. Where do I go to find my bag? Or that person is a consultant. Working the information. That's a type of consulting. But what are they doing?
Finding a solution.
Simply answering questions, conveying information. And it's general information. If I ask some complex question about getting a refund on a ticket from some Polish airline, they're not gonna have a clue. So that's a type of consulting. Think about somebody who comes to your house and builds a deck on the back of the house. Well, that's more than just information dissemination. What do they have to do? A deck builder. Well, they've got to understand the construction materials that the back of your house is made of. They have to understand the soil and how deep the footings need to be. They have to understand there's a lot of wind blow here. There's a whole lot of factors they've got to analyze. They got to understand the kind of weight that the deck needs to be able to bear. Right? So they're applying expertise. You're telling them a few aesthetic things you want. I like these pretty railings on the side or whatever, but they're using their expertise to simply produce a predefined solution. Think about a doctor. He's or she is a consultant in what sense? Well, you come in with a symptom, my side hurts, right? They have to diagnose it. The diagnosis could be incorrect. They have to run some tests and determine definitively, here's what the problem is. And once they truly understand the problem, they rely on their knowledge and expertise and whatever the latest research is they can read about to prescribe
The medicine.
the medicine you need, the treatment you need, the course of action that will cure the problem. What's your role as a patient?
Explain the problem and then give feedback on whether the
I'm
solution.
having some blood in my urine, or I'm sharing facts about what I'm experiencing, but I'm not in a position to say, well, I need chemotherapy, don't you think, Doc? So then think about a consultant who's a collaborative partner. Because up till now, doesn't sound collaborative. It's either one way or it's my expertise to solve your problem. What's a collaborative partner consultant sound like?
Are we just taking like both ideas and like converging them into like one idea that might be conducive to like, helping the problem?
Okay, so it suggests, if you think about the consultant and the client, most of those scenarios are kind of one way. I'm going to bring my expertise to tell you how we can build a deck. Collaborative consulting, everything is two-way. Everything is interactive. We've had students create a beautiful website for a client. And the client simply throws it in the trash. Because there wasn't any consultation, there wasn't any interaction, there wasn't any collaboration. Should the website have more of a fun theme, or should it have more of a intense, serious theme? What should the color scheme be? What should the flow be? Who are really targeting with the website? So this brings us to what we're going to do this semester. And that is this concept of process consulting. How many of you would say you don't know much about business? Come on, okay. Good, most of you, excellent. Some years ago, we were in South Africa. And we were working with a woman who had a catering business in the township of Khayelitsha. Single mom, 3 kids. Totally switched on, an amazing woman. Whereas most of the caterers, and there's a bunch of caterers because there's not a lot of opportunity and everybody knows how to cook. Most of the caterers tried to cater in the townships to church events, birthday parties, weddings. This woman from a shack in Khayelitsha would go out and tender or bid and get jobs catering to big corporations, biggest insurance company in South Africa. She would not only go out and try to get that business, she'd win that business. Very cool lady. She got a contract catering to the South African Parliament. Nobody does that. She does. She doesn't know the meaning of the word no. She'll just go out and do it. Try stuff. The problem is, she had no idea which jobs were more profitable or less, what her monthly actual profits were. Her bookkeeping system was basically a drawer full of receipts and invoices. That's it. No spreadsheet, no journal, writing down revenues and expenses, nothing. The team she worked with had a student who had actually, so we do this program in the summertime. He actually had just graduated in May, but he wanted to do the program. So he graduated in accountancy and came to ISA in South Africa. The team also had a young lady on it who was a sociology major. She'd never been anywhere near bookkeeping, anywhere near business, sociology major. Which of those two students, the answer is kind of a leading story here, but which of those two students created a working bookkeeping system that the woman would believe in and use going forward? Obviously, it wasn't the accounting student. How did the sociology student do it? How did the sociology student do it when the accounting student could not?
She asked.
Huh?
She asked her.
She asked good questions, and consulting is all about asking good questions. All about asking good questions, yeah. Listening,
Mediation.
empathy, and humility. So all of you gotta check your egos at the door. She had all that. But why couldn't the accounting student come up with a workable solution that the entrepreneur would believe in and actually use once the students were gone? Why?
Because he didn't, yeah, what, it's, because he didn't understand her, understand what she
He
really wanted.
understood accounting.
Yeah, but
He
she-
actually knew too much about accounting.
But she didn't understand.
What's he thinking?
didn't, right?
We need to get this sophisticated software. We need to create a double entry bookkeeping system with debits and credits. We need. What was a sociology student thinking?
Oh, we already have. Like, and how to turn it. on.
She doesn't know anything about bookkeeping. What does she know?
Mhm.
She, like most students at Notre Dame, is on financial aid.
Okay.
She, like many students at Notre Dame, doesn't come from wealth. Meaning,
She knows poverty.
she wasn't from poverty necessarily. She might have been from poverty, but she had to work in a dining hall while she goes to school or somewhere, the gym, somewhere. And what does she not know? She doesn't know if this weekend, when her girlfriends asked her to go get some coffee at Starbucks, if she's got enough money to do that, or if she has to say, no, I have to study this weekend just because she doesn't have any money. So what is she used to doing? Keeping a budget. Simple one, maybe it's in her head, but she knows I make this much from work. My parents send me a little bit of living money. This is the money I have, but I have to buy books and I have to buy clothes and I have to buy food so she, right? She knows that. She knows what she can and can't afford to spend money on this month to get through the month, to get through the semester. So she's thinking just like The hell is that? Good reminder, the class should be over right now. But he's thinking just like the entrepreneur is. She's empathizing with the entrepreneur. She's, well, I need to sort of see how much money comes in each month, and write that down. I need to see how much money goes out each month and write that down. And I need to, and so she created a simple pen and paper bookkeeping system that the entrepreneur used to this day. Does that make sense? She didn't know jack about accounting or bookkeeping. That's what I mean. You have experience. You can do stuff. Here's the key. Process consulting, and we'll pick up on this, looks at, and here's a message for you. Business is simple. Business professors can make it seem very complicated. Business is simple. I've been a business professor for 40 years. I can tell you, and we've worked with every kind of client, including the big corporates, including the township entrepreneurs. Business is simple. And everything in business is a process. And if it's a process, you can break it down to steps and you can manage it. Who's a marketing major? Anybody knows more about marketing? Nobody? How does marketing work? How does marketing work in a company, in a business? In your clubs you belong to on campus, you're trying to market some social event, some fundraiser. How does marketing work?
I know there's like a life cycle of a product.
Yeah. There's just theoretical stuff, but that's good. But
Making things look more appealing.
what's the first thing I have to do to get you to buy my product?
Sell it to me.
What's the first thing? I can't sell you crap unless you're aware of my product, my brand name, right? So I have to create awareness. Okay, now you've heard of me, what I have to do. I have to get you interested in actually buying from me, and you have a lot of questions about how it works. And then what? Okay, I got you aware, you know who I am, what I sell, you know how it works. I have to create preference. Yeah, I might be interested in buying. Trying. I have to close the sale. I have to build the relationship. I want you to come back and buy again. What did I just describe? A process, a set of steps. Everything in business is a set of steps. And that's how we're going to approach it. And that makes it a ton more logical and a ton easier. Bookkeeping is a process. What do you have to do? Well, you have to keep receipts and invoices. It's called a paper trail. What did I sell this week? What did I spend money on this week? Did I keep any kind of receipt? Okay, now I got a bunch of receipts. What do I have to do? I have to record them somewhere. So I need a recording system that I can record in. Then what? Well, you can produce financial statements, an income statement, a cash flow statement. Then what? I have to see what those numbers are telling the entrepreneur so she can make smarter decisions. What did I just describe? A process. What you're going to learn, and I'm going to show you, is how to approach all the areas in the business as a logical set of steps. And that makes it consumable, manageable. And just as critically, the relationship itself is a process. What's going to happen? If consulting is a process, what's it tell you? It has a beginning, and a middle, and an end. We're going to take a look at what the beginning and the middle and the end looks like. A relationship is unfolding. When's the semester end? December 10th. Back out of that. We're at August 26th today. So what's the beginning look like? What am I doing the first 4 weeks of the semester? What's the middle look like when I start to actually produce deliverables? How do I wrap that up and finalize the deliverables and put it into a form that the entrepreneur can consume? The relationship will be a process. everything will be a process, and that is powerful. And you'll see more next time.